Hello, and thank you for joining me again today on the Finding Hope After Loss podcast. Today I am joined by Britney, who's a registered nurse, the founder of the Loving Lily Foundation, and a mom to 2 living children and her daughter Lily in heaven. Britney shares the story of developing preeclampsia, delivering Lily early, and the unimaginable heartbreak of losing her after 13 days in the NICU. We also talk about how her medical background shaped her experience, living with unanswered questions, and how she continues to honor Lily's legacy through advocacy and support for other lost families. Hello, everyone. Today I am here with Britney. Britney, do you mind telling us a little about yourself?
Hi, yes, I'm Brittany. I'm a mom to 3 kiddos, 2 on earth and 1 in heaven.
Do you mind talking a little bit about your lost journey?
Lily was our last and final baby. She will forever be our little baby girl, and we lost her at 13 days old.
So, do you mind talking a little bit about, more about the loss and like how that came about, or like if you know the cause or anything like that?
So Lily was in the NICU. She was born early at 25 weeks and 4 days due to preeclampsia, and I was borderline developing HELP, and so to save her and me, she had to be delivered. She was fighting like a rock star in the unit and was on minimal support and really just doing amazing. The day we lost her was a complete shock and unexpected. We really had every indication and impression that we would eventually get to bring her home. We knew she would be in the unit, until their due date is kind of what we get told. And we got a call that afternoon that she had dropped her heart rate and they basically never got her back.
I'm so sorry. I mean, I know that's such a roller coaster, like you feel like, okay, she's here, everything's safe. And I've heard with the NICU that there's a lot of ups and downs that automatically come with that. And then I know that's definitely not how you ever saw things ending.
No, definitely not. And I am in past NICU nurse, so I do know the ins and outs of NICU, who that was a blessing and a curse all at the same time. So I knew way more than I needed to, but I could also try to explain it to my husband at the same time. And just to have no red flags, no indicators that day that we were going to lose her is wild and kind of uncommon and unheard of. I've dug through her medical records a lot because I need peace, I need answers. There's a possible cause of what could have, caused that collapse that afternoon. I'll never get to know all of those answers. I know that she had a procedure that evening. I called and checked on her, and an hour after that last phone call, she suddenly was gray and unresponsive and in her bed. And that in and of itself is also pretty unheard of because the alarms are going off so much that her monitor should have been going nuts as soon as anything started happening. So I have a lot of questions about that day that I won't ever get to know. I just know that I feel like she should be here.
And I feel like you having that experience as being the NICU nurse, that you probably have more questions that other people wouldn't even know to ask. Probably most people, I mean, would probably question it, but not like to the level of like the way that you're able to question things.
Oh, 100%. I've talked through with several of my fellow previous ladies I worked with too, what was wrong? Was it her head? Was it her belly? Or was it this and that? And, we kind of come down to the same conclusion every time. So it's hard to think you found your answer and it doesn't bring her back. It doesn't change it. All I can do is try to advocate and prevent another family from losing their baby the way we did.
I mean, I know that, knowing the exact cause or like knowing the reason doesn't bring her back. It doesn't bring our babies back, but I feel like for me personally, it somewhat brings a sense of peace, like that you just know the answers. Like, do you feel like that's kind of in the way of you having that?
For sure. I think for the first 2 years, I blame myself. I blame my health. I blame my body. I blamed, everything that I was supposed to do as a mom to take care of her. And so when I finally was able to really look through some of the cause and effect and potentially blame somewhere else and not myself, I actually got a lot of peace from that because it wasn't me. And I knew everybody tells you it's not your fault, but it still is a mother instinct, is our instinct to take care and protect our babies. And so any point where I felt like I failed her, I know I didn't, but it doesn't take that thought away. So at least, which is a phrase I hate, at least we can kind of say, maybe X, Y, and Z led to her demise, and it wasn't me, it wasn't my body, it wasn't my fault. So I've gotten peace out of that, even though it's a tragedy.
It's so hard. I mean, because we all are told it's not your fault. You couldn't have known. You did nothing wrong, but it still doesn't, like you said, it still doesn't stop us from blaming ourselves for it because we feel like it's like our responsibility to keep them safe, even when we have no control over it. And I know I'm a person who likes to be in control of everything, and I felt so like completely out of control about everything with my loss.
Yes, 100%. I am so a control freak, type A, need everything in line. That's probably the nurse in me too. So when everything was out of my hands, it made it really hard to.
So then I was going to ask, but I guess as a nurse, you're probably more familiar with preeclampsia. So was that something you were familiar with then before being diagnosed with it?
To some level, I didn't do like mother baby nursing much. So you learn about it in school. It's a reason why the babies are born early on the NICU side of things. You don't understand all the time. I think the cause and effect that comes with it. For me, I knew around the 20-week mark I had started having like really bad headaches, which is out of the normal for me. For me, my blood pressure was rising, but it was not the 140 over 90 that they look for. So I really hope more literature and education comes out about that 30-point increase of your baseline. That, we need to look at the person individually, not just these, hardcore numbers. And often it's not diagnosed before 24 weeks. And I was admitted at 23 and some change. So I knew I was having the symptoms. It just technically, by the textbook standards, they weren't going to label preeclampsia on me until my lab started showing it.
That's interesting. I didn't realize it was only diagnosed really after a certain point in pregnancy. I would feel like even if you're having those symptoms before, I mean, it should still be
Yeah, I
considered
want to
that.
don't quote me on it, but it's around the 24-week mark that they'll finally like say, yes, it's preeclampsia or something of that nature that I guess the placenta has to kick in enough for it to start to be the cause is all of the medical jargon behind it. But yes, I mean, I knew about it. I knew it was probably what was happening. And then come to find out it was. So
So did you have to deliver early because of the preeclampsia, or you just went into labor early?
because of the preeclampsia, I was admitted at 23 weeks, 3 days. I was in the hospital for 14 days before she was born. My protein in my urine was super high. My liver enzymes were starting to be like off the charts. And then towards that last few days, my platelets were dropping. So we were at the conversation of if they dropped too low, I would have to go underneath general anesthesia to have her. A lot of different hard conversations about how far can we push my physical body because she was so small due to that placenta. She was tiny. She was severe IUGR, less than 1%. So she was borderline if we would even get to see her alive if, had to deliver. So it was every day, every inch, holding on, trying to get her a little bigger, but making sure I came out of that OR also.
Yeah, that's got to be so hard because, again, as a mom, you want to do everything possible to give them the best chance. So, I mean, I know me personally, I'd be willing to risk my health, up to a certain point to save her, but then you're walking that line of you being at risk too.
Yes, and that was hard for like me and my husband. We saw it the same, but we also saw it different. All he could worry about was me and having me on the other side. Whereas I, like you said, would have done everything and anything in my power to stay in that bed as long as I could because it meant it gave her more time. So that was a hard fine line to walk of making sure I was safe, he was content as he could be, but then trying to get her as big as possible to give her the best chance at life.
And I know you said you have other kids at home. Did you deal with preeclampsia during those pregnancies too?
I didn't. So I have no like warning factors or warning signs. Same baby daddy for all three kids, because sometimes that can be a trigger. The only thing that we could kind of think of was we did take a break in between our kids. So there's a good 7, 8 year gap between our last one and then Lily. So that can sometimes trigger it. But other than that, they did all kinds of phospholipid and different testing, and I have no other indicators as to why this pregnancy and why that early.
I would find that so frustrating.
Yes. More
Again,
whys and more unanswered questions. It's great.
you're like, and why did you choose to do this now, body? Like you did fine before, and now all of a sudden you're gonna,
Just poop out on me, and it's
yeah,
great.
I was gonna say crap out, but
Yeah,
I was like,
I
that
like
doesn't
it.
sound
Hey,
very nice.
same thoughts. That's all right. We're cool.
And so then I know you also started loving Lily, the foundation. What made you, or I mean, when did you start that and how'd that kind of come about?
I guess I started the foundation in its beginning stages around her first birthday. I had kind of been ghost and quiet on all platforms and just trying to figure out life. And I knew I needed community. I needed people who understood loss, who understood us as a family. We had family and friends just do things that were unmanageable, and we needed people around us that got us. So I just started a page and it kind of grew from there. And what other small ways I could honor other people's babies gave me joy because as much as I loved seeing her name written, I wanted to do that for other people.
I love that. And I love like the tree that you do every month. I mean, that's got to be a lot of work though, is it?
My holiday tree is grown drastically. I started with like 50 ornaments in December and up to like 550 now
Wow.
for July or June, excuse me. June, I'm working on some turtles. That's a blessing and a curse in itself because as that tree grows, it's more loss, but it's also more
Yeah.
families I'm able to connect and reach and support. So it's that grief and joy walking hand in hand all the time.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, just seeing your baby's name like written somewhere where it wasn't even you that did it, like somebody else who does it for you, that it just means so much to me anytime I ever see Jasmine's name. So just thank you for doing that for, all of those 550 babies. And I'm sure it'll continue to grow too.
Yes, we've got to add more trees because I'm not going to say no and I'm not going to turn anybody away. So we will make it.
Do you ever get strange looks for your tree or people are
we
pretty understanding?
I've put a sign out there for us, what it's for and what it represents. Because the first in January, a family member asked, "Did I just forget to take my Christmas tree down?" And I was like, "No, I'm doing a monthly tree, and we're gonna, decorate it each month." And then when I explain what it's for, I've gotten a lot of support for it, and the community just honks and waves as I'm out there working on it now when they drive by. So
Oh, I love that.
I'm just the crazy dead baby lady. It's fine.
Hey, we all become that person right after we lose our babies. And then, you kind of just stop caring. You're like, yep, that's me now. Just,
Yeah.
hey, you know. But yeah, no, I think it's great. I love seeing what kind of theme you do every month and, seeing all the videos where you show like the names. And yeah, I love that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, and that's what I do it for, to help others and to help me all at the same time. So it's worth it.
And then you also just came out with a book too, right? Do you want to talk
Yes,
about that?
sure. More Than a Name is a collection of other lost mom stories, lost dad, any form of pregnancy and infant loss, child loss. I found in my first, few weeks of grief, reading other stories helped validate kind of what I was feeling and trying to understand and navigate those feelings. So I wanted to put together a way for other moms or dads to feel seen and heard, and also another way for them to just tell their story and put their name out there. It gives them a chance to put their baby story on paper and let others read it in a way that they may not have ever been able to share it before. So I hope it brings comfort to others. Anybody can submit their story. I let it be as rough and raw as it is because that's what this grief is. It's the
Yeah.
real true emotions. So
So you plan on doing more than if you get more submissions?
yes, I had 43 families submit for that first book, and I'll keep doing it as long as there's stories to tell. It's easy on my part. I put it together and put it to print, but it helps, I hope, those families feel loved and supported. So that's what's most important. So if I'm doing it 10 years from now, then we'll have a whole shelf of books.
I love that though. I mean, yeah, it's like you said about grief and joy at the same time. It's really special being able to share the story of your baby, even if it's sad and hard and, emotional. It makes it feel real, because we don't always have a lot of like tangible. I mean, even if they were stillborn, even if they were infant loss, I mean, and they were physically here in our arms, like we don't have a lot.
Correct. I agree. And I think just actually putting their name on paper and saying, yes, they were here, they made a mark on this world is important.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like they were here, they're remembered, and it sometimes it feels like we're the only ones who are remembering them,
Yes,
and that's really
definitely.
hard.
It is. It is. And so when you can find community that will say Jasmine's name and say Lily's name, I think that it does a lot for the heart.
So I'm curious, how did you come up with her name?
We decided on it like minutes before my C-section. We didn't know if she was a boy or a girl, so she was Peanut to us for the whole pregnancy. We have a boy and we have a girl, and ironically, all we said was that we wanted a happy, healthy baby. And, smack in the face on that one. But she did make it here happy and healthy, so we did get that blessing. We sat there and we had a boy and a girl name picked out, and so we just waited until she was born. Lily was just the name we liked. Lee is actually my sister's middle name, and so most of our kids, like I have a million, what in the world? But all of our kids have some family name within their names, and so Lee was a way to give her a family name also. The boy name was going to be Luke Edward, and so then she was a Lily Lee.
I love that. It's a beautiful name. I mean, I love the floral names. All of my daughters, all three of them have some kind of flower in their name, so I love it.
And it's been very fitting for her and just her personality and everything about her. So we couldn't have picked a better name.
Did you like that you ended up waiting to find out if it was a boy or a girl?
Yes, I mean I loved that part, just not knowing. It took away some of that stress and anxiety of gender guilt or I wish I had this or I wish I had that. We just were hopeful for every appointment that she did better, and we just called her Peanut.
I love that though, especially given, her smaller size too. I just think
Yeah,
that's such a sweet.
so foreshadowing for her.
Yeah. But yeah, I have always thought about like when I was pregnant with mine, if I wanted to wait or if I wanted to find out, and I could never wait. It's always like I just have to know because I want to like I'm a planner, and yes, I know you can still plan like without it, but it's always something I wanted to do but just never been able to have the patience for. So
And also, we did a neutral nursery, and I knew if it was a girl, I was like, I'll just add some flowers and bows. It'll be fine.
yeah.
We have little woodland themes and farm animals in there. So I was like, I can girly it up or leave it neutral. So it worked
Yeah,
out.
that's pretty easy to change. Yeah. And I know you're in Georgia, so I think you're in a smaller area, aren't you? Like a smaller town.
Yeah, we're right
Did
outside of Macon.
did you find that there were other like support groups or anything like that in your area, being a small area?
No, so I'm in a little town called Lizella, which is a few miles outside of Macon, which Macon's one of the bigger towns in Georgia. But there aren't any really groups dedicated towards like pregnancy and infant loss. We have a few just for child loss in general, and siblings and such can come to that. I've tried one or two, but it's such an isolating feeling to have an infant or a child or baby die. It's just not the same as sitting in a room with somebody who lost their 20 something year old sister. So I am trying, hopefully, to start a group of, I've found two moms I've connected with through social media that live around Macon, and hopefully we can just start meeting up at a coffee shop and just start small and start a group, and we'll create something and let people feel welcome and heard and feel seen.
Yeah, I love that you're doing that too, because I mean, even in small areas, you're not the only one who's gone through it, even if you don't know the other people. There are people that will need that support.
Yes. And the more we've talked about it, the more even like the older generations have talked about their losses. Some of my husband's coworkers or people he works with have come out and said, 20 years ago they lost a baby. So just the platform in itself of trying to spread awareness has allowed so many other people to reach out to us and say, yes, thank you for what you're doing because we didn't have the opportunity when it was their turn.
Somehow I find those even more special, like the ones who, weren't able to talk about it for so long, and all of a sudden they'll be like, I lost a baby in 1987 or in 1970 or, whenever. And it's like, wow, you're finally able to talk about that. I think that's like super special.
I think that's the most important work I think our generation is kind of doing right now is breaking the ice on some of those hard topics. That it doesn't need to be forgotten. It doesn't need to be pushed under the rug or move on and put it away kind of thing. That it's okay to be uncomfortable and support each other while you're doing it.
Yeah, I know our society is not very grief
No.
literate and comfortable around grief. It's kind of like, oh my gosh, they're sad. What do I do? And
Yeah.
then that's when you get those fun comments and
Oh, yes. I
all
think
of
some of
that.
the funny ones are, would you say that about another husband? Like, oh, you could just have another husband, or
It's like,
those
no, you
little memes
wouldn't.
that you
So
see. No, just because he's gone doesn't mean I'm just going to go get another. Like,
I
I don't
know.
know.
I don't know what it is about, specifically babies and children. I mean, it's probably just because it's one of the most uncomfortable losses there is. So people are just like, I don't even want to imagine. And it's like, yeah,
Right. And
but
so
I have to
then
live
they slough it off, and you're like, well, hold on a minute now.
it. Or, they're like you said of that generation where they didn't talk about it, so they think, well, you should be fine. I was fine not talking about it, so you should be fine too. And you're like, okay, but no, that's not how we do things now.
Right. We're changing this. We're going to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and not even if two people both have the same kind of loss, it doesn't mean that they had the same experience or the same, feelings about it. So, yeah,
Yes.
there's just a lot of it's not just a one way to grieve and that's it.
I agree. I recently went to a lost mom retreat, and we had two moms there that had lost older children. One was 5 and one was 2, and they were worried about coming, but grief is grief. And we were able to be on the same level because losing a child is still losing a child. And so we could, talk hand in hand about our same feelings and thoughts. And we all had different experiences. But you can also, like you just said, have the same moment where you both have a NICU loss and they're totally different. So it can go either way.
How was the retreat? I mean, was it what you expected from a loss themed retreat?
It was awesome. Lachlan's Light Canada did it for us. So a little small Georgia girl went all the way to Canada. So I traveled by myself for the first time ever and made it there. But to walk into a room where you immediately could let your guard down and just be with people who got it was the most magical experience I think I've ever had. Because we could just cry and then we could laugh together and nobody was judging each other. Nobody was saying, oh, I thought you were doing better. Why are you crying again? So it was just good to be present and in a place where you felt supported and seen and everybody just respected each other's pain.
That's amazing. How many people were there?
There were, I think, 8 moms there, and then there was 3 ladies that helped run the retreat for us. So we had close to a dozen of us, and we had fun, and we laughed, and we cried harder than we have, and they did an amazing job of supporting us and showing, how the world can be if we all get on the same page.
I know you and I had previously talked too about how there don't seem to be many retreats in like the Georgia area or even, I mean, in the US at all. I mean, were you able to find, is that just the closest one you could find or like how did you end up going all the way to Canada?
I think I just was following her page and went for it. She put the page out there, the submissions where you could, submit to try to go. And I just went for it. I was like, we're doing it. I think I have come across a few others that are more South US and that sort. There's a lot out west that I've seen more of, which doesn't surprise me. The South is very conservative and we
Yeah.
don't talk about our feelings down here. So I can understand why it's not as common in our area, but maybe one day I can help change that.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping too. I mean, I've always thought it would be really cool to be able to plan one of those and, but then I'm like, wow, that seems like a lot of work too.
Yeah.
So definitely not something you could do by yourself, but
No, definitely got to have a good support system and a bunch of friends that are willing to help in and get it done.
yeah, which again, in our southern states may not be as easy to find, but yeah.
Yeah.
But that's so cool though that you got to visit another country and, go to a lost retreat.
Yes.
So an
Definitely
unrelated
recommend
question,
it.
but
Yeah,
how did
yeah.
you feel about traveling by yourself? Was it relaxing or was it stressful?
Both. I was like my moment to finally be independent, I think, because I've been so a recluse and at home and not doing much. So to finally kind of step out of my shell and find a little bit of that personality back that I lost, when I lost Lily, I think it was kind of cool in the same time that I could be like, all right, I got this. We can do this. And then you're like, oh God, what have I done? All at the same time.
That'd probably be
So,
me too. It's like, yes, I'm doing this, I'm being independent, but then I don't want to travel by myself. It's
yeah,
scary, you
yeah,
know?
I don't want to. I want to go back home. But it was
I
good. I'm
know.
glad I did it. I would recommend it to anybody for sure.
So you would do it again then?
Yes, I would totally do it again.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've always wanted to really go on one, but like you said, most of them are kind of West Coast and
Yeah.
not as logistically easy to get to.
Yes. Well, you should look into hers because it was really good. I
Yeah,
recommend
and I've always wanted to go to
it.
Canada, so
Yeah, it was
plus
pretty.
at
It
the
was
same
fun.
yeah. And get away from the hot weather
Yes.
that we deal with down here. So I'm sure their hot is not our hot. So
It was not. I got so tickled because they were like, it's so hot. And I was like, no, we got 20
like,
more
have you
degrees
been
down
down
south.
here?
And add some humidity to that, and you are just a melting pot. So,
I know. Oh, yeah, no, I am not enjoying summer
Georgia.
here.
Yeah. Well, in Texas, I'm sure it's just as bad. So,
I actually thought Georgia was slightly better. Like it was
okay.
not quite as 100-degree everyday weather,
Hmm.
but it was still definitely hot. But I did laugh at people because I was north of Atlanta, so I was in Marietta, so a little. And I've heard that the southern Georgia is hotter than northern Georgia.
Yes.
So
That sand belt gets us. I don't know. We just bake.
yeah, because my like I think I told you that my dad used to work in
Yeah.
Macon, and he would always complain about it being like super hot there. And when we were up in Atlanta, I'm like, well, it's not that bad. I mean, it's hot, but it's not that bad. He's like, no, it's different down there.
It's hot.
Like,
It's hot. It's been really hot these last couple of days. We've been under a heat advisory, so it's finally raining today, thankfully. So
oh yeah, yeah, I know.
we
It's
need
like you've
it.
never been so grateful for rain. Like
Yes.
during the
Everything's
summer,
so
we've had a
dry. So
ton
dry.
here too.
Oh wow, yeah.
And you have animals, don't you?
We do. So like we need the rain. We need the grass to grow and feed everything. And so
How many animals do you have?
we have a horse, three donkeys, five or six cows, a handful of goats, chickens, ducks, a little bit of everything.
Oh wow, that sounds both fun and stressful.
It was. I purged a lot of the animals after Lily passed. I couldn't do it. And I was like, it's too much stress. And now I'm finally finding where I can enjoy it a little bit. So just part of those pieces that come back that you completely lose of yourself.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, we're never the same person that we were before loss. I feel like every day I find something that's maybe a little bit different than what it used to be. I'm like, oh, maybe I used to react differently or feel differently than I do now, but it's weird how it keeps popping up over and over, just the ways that you change.
yes, definitely. You're never the same person you were before. As close as you can get to it, you'll never be that.
So is there anything else that you'd like to add or share about anything?
I don't know. Is there anything else you want to
Do you have any other plans for your
know?
foundation? Any other projects you're gonna do or
We are doing our first memorial walk in October through Rachel's Gift. So they are one of the organizations that our hospital partners with. And so they gave us a box of items for Lily, the gown that she was buried in, and, the hand foot mold, things of that nature. So I'm going to do a memorial walk and help benefit them. So we're going to try that for the first time in October, October 10th.
Oh, I love that. Is that for Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month then?
Yes, it will be. I'm hoping to do just something in our community to make sure, like we talked about, there's not really much in Middle Georgia for pregnancy and infant loss. So hopefully this will kind of kickstart those families to feel welcome and supported and come out. And we may have 10 people, we may have 100, who knows? But if we start somewhere, then maybe we can start to bring more awareness for the babies that we've all lost.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like even if it's 10 people next year, maybe it's 20, maybe
That's right.
it'll just keep building, word will get out. And I mean, Middle Georgia's not too far from Florida either, is it?
No, I mean, they could drive up if they wanted
Yeah,
to.
Florida. I mean, close to, Alabama. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's all kind of right there. So maybe it can expand to the other states too.
Yes. I'm hopeful to, like I said, break the mold and talk about it and make people uncomfortable because we're uncomfortable enough of our lives. And, as they say, you can be uncomfortable for a few minutes. It's my whole life. So,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's so true. It drives me nuts when people can't handle us like talking about our loss or whatever. And I'm like, this is my life. Like you're saying you can't be comfortable with me talking about my life. So that's kind of offensive.
It is. It is. It's taken a lot of our friends and family. They just don't get it. And I don't know how to make them get it. And at this point, you just kind of keep rolling through it, and it is what it is. And the ones that stay by your side are going to be there. And then you learn to give grace to the others and let them be.
And it is I found it surprising the people that did show up and didn't show up. Like it's not always who you
Yeah.
think it's going to be on either side of it.
Yes, I agree. A coworker of mine really stepped up and became our person and has got me in a whole different headspace than I would have been without her. So you definitely figure out who your people are and you stick to them, and then you just kind of have to weed out the rest.
And usually you're better off for it. Those
Yeah,
probably weren't the best friends or family members anyway. So,
that's right. That's right. Very much so.
well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Brittany, for sharing your story with us. One of the biggest things I want you to remember from this episode is that grief and joy really can coexist together. Even after unimaginable loss, our love for our babies continue. The memories we have of them continue. And we can even find purpose or find a new purpose that can grow from the places that we never even expected. If Brittany's story resonated with you, please consider sharing this episode with someone who may need it. And if you're enjoying the podcast, please leave a review on Apple or Spotify. It really helps other parents navigating loss and infertility find these helpful conversations. Thank you so much for tuning in, and remember, we are all in this together.